Did you know that TYT now has a full audio network? On top of our existing lineup, this launch is gonna bring you brand new slate of podcasts, including Mouthy Messy Mandatory with Katie Anthony and Ronit Fanglas-Plank. Now that's a weekly show that discusses everything from family to really funny and fantastic women. To get more info on the show and the whole TYT audio network, visit tyt.com/audio.
Corey Lewandowski was recently on Fox News, and he was debating a Democratic strategist on the issue of the zero tolerance policy, specifically separating children from their parents as they come to the border seeking asylum. Now, take a look at how Lewandowski responded to a story about a Down syndrome, a little girl with Down syndrome. Take a look.
A 10-year-old girl with Down syndrome who was taken from her mother and put in a cage. I read about did you say want to a 10-year-old with Down syndrome being taken from her mother?
What I said is you can pick anything you want out, but the bottom line is very clear.
How dare you?
When you cross
absolutely
the border
dare you,
illegally,
sir. This policy is abhorrent. It is offensive to all.
Where were you during the Obama administration when this policy was in place?
This administration policy was not done during the administration. You are now lying about this policy. In addition to saying womp, and we have members of the Trump team who are going wah wah when you learn about the stories.
That's some excellent journalistic work by the Fox News anchor in the middle, but nonetheless, womp womp. So Corey Lewandowski is trash. I'm done with civility. I'm done with pretending like Trump, his goons, and his supporters are decent human beings worthy of respect. They're not. I mean, how many more examples do people need to understand that these individuals are complete monsters?
I'm trying to think of a scenario that would be worse. But a 10-year-old separated from her parents, that's already terrible. She's got Down syndrome. And he's like, womp womp. Oh, what do you want me to have sympathy for a 10-year-old with Down syndrome? Separated from her parents and has no idea what's going on and must be terrified? Womp womp. I guarantee you there are people watching this video who'll be like, yeah, man, that's the right way to show her. That'll show that 10-year-old she had it coming, right? Well, you're the bad guys of history. I don't know what to tell you. This is not, Anna's absolutely right. I'm so tired of the establishment media doing false equivalency. Well, I mean, on the one hand this, on the other hand that. Andrea Mitchell had a quote today where she's like, you know, we've been taught and we've been doing on the one hand and on the other hand for decades, and now this really strains us and we don't know whether we should keep doing it. Andrea, I got news for you, and I know you're in the news business. You shouldn't do on the one hand and on the other hand. You should have the courage to actually give your viewers the truth, even if it makes them uncomfortable. And for Republican viewers, it does make them uncomfortable that, hey, don't call me the bad guys. I just want to crush 10-year-olds with Down syndrome and rip them away from their parents. Wah, wah. I guess you're worried about that, you pansy. Like, you're not getting it. That's what bad guys do. So one side, you can say, are you kidding me? The Democrats, we're not saying be partisan. We're not saying being biased. Say, oh, the Democrats are always good. Of course not. We've criticized the Democrats in 1,000 different ways. And you can say, hey, here's my clear perspective. I'm a progressive and here's my thoughts on the Republicans, Democrats. Or I'm a conservative, you're on Fox News. Or wherever you are on the political spectrum. But you have to give people what reality is.
Not only that.
So when Lewandowski, for example, says, forget the womp womp, okay, don't, because he's a monster. But then he goes on to say it was the same policy as Obama. Well, that's just not true. So the so-called anchor in the middle there, is her job as a reporter or a journalist, someone in media, to say, now look, you can have any opinion you want on 10-year-olds being ripped away from their parents. Some think great, wonderful, some think bad. Okay, those are your two sides. But Obama did not have the same policy. They don't even do that, right? Which now brings us to the Lewandowski coming back on television today. So now, let's see if the anchor challenges him. She's gonna ask him a question, obviously, that's why they had him back on. And then let's then see how many times he lies in his response. And note whether he's apologetic, and she gives him a softball at one point. I think that's the most interesting part is his response. So let's watch.
You made a comment last night that's gotten a lot of attention in the media. Would you like to address that right now?
Well, I'd love to address it because my comment was specifically about Zac trying to politicize the use of children as a political football in this discussion, because the law is very clear. When parents commit crimes by coming into this country, regardless of who their children are, they are separated because we are a nation of laws.
But to be clear, you were not speaking about the young girl with Down syndrome that was separated from her parents at the border?
Look, I don't know the young girl that Zac referenced. I was mocking Zac, a liberal Democrat National Committee activist who is doing nothing but politicizing the issue of making an example of one particular child.
There are some who say that the president can change this with the stroke of his pen. You just heard Chuck Schumer say it. The president has said that. Do you feel that you owe an apology of any sort?
An apology? And I owe an apology to the children whose parents are putting them in a position that is forcing them to be separated. We owe an apology to Jamil Shah and Brian Terry and Kate Steinle's family, who have allowed those individuals to be killed by illegal aliens.
Okay, so first let me break down the lies. My favorite was, the president can fix it with a stroke of a pen. That's not true. Later in the day, the president fixed it with a stroke of a pen. He signed an executive order reversing his policy from 2 months ago. What happened? I thought you said it wasn't true. Oops. And he, of course.
Stop, 1 second. He did not reverse his policy from 2 months ago. Zero tolerance policy very much in place. We're just detaining children with their parents now. We're imprisoning children with their parents. So
what are you
let's
doing?
be clear about that.
What are you doing, journalism?
No, but I want us to be absolutely clear, because, and also I don't like the phrasing, the president did fix it. He didn't fix anything. He didn't fix anything. All he did was take it down a tiny bit from the insane cruelty that these immigrants experienced before. The kids are just gonna be imprisoned with their parents.
Right, but can the president, with the stroke of a pen, make sure that the kids are not taken away from their parents? Corey Lewandowski just said, no, he can't. And later in the day, he did. So an obvious and brazen lie again by Corey Lewandowski. And he said, the Democrats are politicizing the children. But it was Trump's policy 2 months ago to politicize the children by saying that we should take them away from their families.
Right, and exactly, it was Trump's decision to hold migrant children hostage until he got exactly what he wanted in the form of legislation from Congress, which included getting rid of protections for children who are detained and also insane funding to the tune of tens of billions of dollars for a stupid wall. So that's politicizing the children.
But to me, the most interesting part, as I told you, was in the middle. Not when she asked him if he's going to apologize, but the anchor said, to be clear, you were not speaking about the young girl with Down syndrome that was separated from her parents at the border. So that's the softball. She's helping him. She's like, you weren't speaking about the girl, right? So the easy answer is, no, of course I wasn't speaking about the girl. I have tremendous sympathy for her and her family. It's just that I thought Zac was making the wrong kind of point and I was talking about Zac. That's an easy softball answer to a softball question. But Lewandowski can't even do that. He said, if you saw on that tape, if you paid attention, he said, quote, look, I don't know the young girl that Zac referenced.
Yeah.
He couldn't be human for just a second.
Because he's not human.
Right?
He's subhuman.
It's so easy to say, oh no, I feel for that girl and I have sympathy for that girl. Instead he said, look, I don't know the girl that Zac referenced, right? No sympathy at all. Why do you think Donald Trump is considering bringing Corey Lewandowski back into the White House? When Trump sees that on Fox News, he doesn't think like the rest of us, oh, what a jerk. He thinks, that's a strong guy. That's very strong, not apologizing, strongly denying it, blaming it on Obama. I like that. And that's what Lewandowski's doing. He's auditioning for an audience of one. So the rest of us see a monster, Donald Trump sees an ally. 2 easy ways to follow the Young Turks. One is hit the subscribe button down below, then you're a TYT subscriber. And second is ring the bell. And when you do that on YouTube, you're notified of our videos.